Hey guys, down. How you all doing on this very hot day? It's kind of ridiculous. I've turned my aircon off and I've got my fan on full blast. So. Cool. So if you've been watching Haze tonight, you'll know that tonight's Dissect stream is going to be creatures. By steps. Oh, my OBS is. Hi, Andy. Okay, let's begin. I've got, in fact, I'll show you this script I've got first. So I got kind of tired trying to search for cheats through the debugger. So while I do want the stream to be pretty much entirely the debugger, but when it comes to finding the infinite live cheats, it would help to have some bit for us. So this just takes a few inputs from the you run the program, it takes a couple of inputs. Hi Cole. Thank you for this. My OBS is doing very strange. Good. Fixes. Figure it out as we go along, it's fine. That's what we do. Yeah, so this file just takes a couple of inputs, takes two files, the initial values and the changed values, and then it does some comparisons and output. Voice is going out to silence. Okay, let me try setting my gate. Okay, let me know if that's any better or if it gets worse. It's probably because I've got the fan on a bit louder today, so. So yeah, this node script, when we use it, is gonna. I'll show you how it works, and I'll share it on the chat or in Discord. Actually, I can't see any emotes or anything in my stream chat. It's quite frustrating, this actually. I don't know what to do about that, so sorry guys, I can't see any of your emotes. Okay, let's begin. Let's get it loaded up. We can look at that script when we need it. Yeah, I think I will open a browser. I just need to mute it. Oh, that's weird. It seemed empty in the browser as well. Apparently I have no internet. What is going on? I can't seem to connect to Twitch either, weirdly. Okay, let's go ahead and start. We can figure that out as we go along. I'll keep trying to refresh the page. Yeah, Streamlabs. It's just whatever the chat is at the side of the Streamlabs OBS. But I've just tried to open Twitch and I've got that as well. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Something's eating my internet. I'm not sure what. Actually, let me try something, because I did have a proxy open today, so maybe it's to do with my web proxy. Can cause issues sometimes. Yeah, panic modes indeed. Sometimes this doesn't shut down properly and can cause the proxy to go weird, so yeah, there we go. Hey, and I can see emotes now. Cool, right. Yeah, it was that proxy. It's because I've been doing some security work today, so okay, so I've got creatures. It's a non-cracked version, I believe. Let's get that loaded up. I am gonna need to do this manually. It should be pretty quick. And Hayes is proving the emotes work. Yep, they definitely work now. It's alright, when I do the edited version I'll cut all this first bit out. Joys of editing. Well, actually it should be this, shouldn't it? Right. So I believe this was just on the disc version, because I originally had the tape version and I never saw this bit. And interestingly, the logo they used here was the logo they decided to go with for the Amiga version as well, I think, rather than the actual logo. So I'm not too fussed about this screen. We'll skip past this one. But I've made a list of the things I saw while Hayes was playing to have a look at. There's quite a lot actually, and a few of the things that people asked to do, like Miffins, get rid of the flashing score on time. Insert side B. Okay, so you can insert discs just like you can in Vice. Press F9. You go to this menu, and then you can change your disc. Let's put it into this mode, then you can see what's going on with the sprites. We'll just make it flash worse. Red and blue. If I hover the cursor here, you should see what's going on. So the creature's logo is in sprites. Here and here. Same sprites, just reused further down the screen. Basic multiplex, and then they're using sprites in the middle as well. It looks like all the same sprite, just some are stretched. Now this is interesting. So this is the first effect I wanted to point out. So this is called FLD. You'll see on this bottom screen here, this never moves. But what you see on the actual screen when the Vic is running it is that all the text moves up from the bottom up to the top, and that's the FLD effect, and that's done by forcing a bad line every line. Basically it stops the Vic from reading graphics until you're ready to tell it to read. And so what they're doing is they're forcing all the way down to the bottom and then slowly reducing how much they force it down the screen, and you get that effect of the whole screen moving up with the colours animating as well. It would be very hard to do without. You see there, it's static on the bottom, but it's moving up at the side. That's FLD. It's one of the bad line effects. We may do some of that at some point. I don't know how. We might do it as a kind of introduction to levels on the arcade game stream. So every new level will come in with an FLD effect, and it will kind of animate in rather than just be drawn directly to the screen. Okay, so that's about it for this. You can see they're using. You remember in the first Maker game stream, they did. We did a color kind of cycle through the characters. This is a similar effect using the same technique. How did they learn all this? Probably bulletin boards or something. I'm pretty sure they would have had connections. You know, the demo scene was still kind of good, still very big. So they would a lot of the effects you see in here would have started out as demo scene effects. Okay, let's start and have a look at the game. Oh, it hurts my eyes looking at that flashing away. So let's just turn it off a minute while I start. Yeah, it would. I think there was in the tweet I posted today. He mentioned that the which effect? Oh no, it wasn't an effect. It was the cheat for Creatures 2, where you lick your finger and rub it on one of the joystick ports. He said that was something they got from one of the demos. So that's kind of interesting. It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of what they did they got the ideas from demos. Actually, let's have a look at this screen as well. There's something I always wanted to know actually. So if you look at this, arrow here, you notice how it's many colours and they're all cycling in one direction. So I kind of often wondered how they did that. I've got an idea what they've done. Hi Fex, welcome to the stream. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's what I thought. So the arrow is actually made up of 8 slices. So it's 8 sprites, that arrow. And you can see here in the sprite list what they are is just single thin slices. Yeah, basically Hayes, you I think it's in port 1 and you short out the paddle pins with a wet finger. Yeah, not the brightest thing to do, but you know, it was a cheat I used myself. I never had a problem, so yeah, that was the demo you mentioned, Gildan Dutch Breeze. So yeah. Okay, so you can see they've created a character set for the map, so it looks like they've taken the tile data and turned each tile into an individual character, and then they can just draw the section of the map where you're at and put the arrow where your spawn point is. Then they've got another character set for a 2x2 font and for the 1x1 font, and some sprites at the bottom for the magic potion creatures. Interesting, that's a character as well. I thought that was going to be a sprite, but it's not. It's characters. Fair enough. Cool. I have got the music and sound effects turned off in this, but if we get time, we can have a look at how the waterfall effect was done. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice is that we have this weird band down this side that we don't see on here, and so this is how they did this scrolling, how they managed to do almost full screen scrolling, very smooth. You can only actually do 24 lines of 24 out of 25 lines of scrolling using this method, but it is incredibly fast. And you'll see how it works when I move. So as I move, you'll see the screen scroll properly at the top. But watch what happens in the actual Vic. Watch what's happening with. So this is screen memory. This represents exactly what the screen memory layout is, not what you will see. And you'll see when I move, it starts scrolling. I'm actually going to have to kill some stuff. And you see how the screen isn't actually scrolling. What it's doing is it's drawing what's coming up on the screen on this side, one column at a time. This is called VSP, variable screen positioning, or DMA delay, depending on how long you want to go back. Hey Foray, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. So the way this works is when the raster's going down the screen, every 8 lines there's a bad line. So this thing clicks on here. You'll see as I move down it kind of flashes red. Those are the bad lines that I'm crossing over. Excuse me. So if you get certain way across the screen and a bad line happens, the CPU locks up and the VIC kicks in and starts fetching stuff. And that happens around about here somewhere. Now, what you can do is on a non-bad line, you can force a bad line by changing some values. So there's I think it's the vertical scroll value. You change the vertical scroll value so that the bottom 3 bits matches the raster line that you're on, and it forces a bad line. And what some clever spark worked out was that if you do that at exactly the right time, just as the VIC is about to draw something, it will force the VIC into drawing everything one character to the right, and so on and so on, and you can get an entire screen's width. You can get up to 40 characters, and all it's doing is drawing. It's really hard because I'm looking at this bottom screen. All it's doing is drawing the entire screen a few characters across, but what you see on here is that it's scrolling. And this has the side effect that these characters here, these last ones here that get shifted. Sorry, it gets shifted to the left, not to the right. This stuff here is what gets drawn on the right, but the screen itself is actually being shifted to the left, as you can see. The downside of it is that these last characters here, this bottom row, gets filled up with junk, and so the trick is to colour that black, colour the background black, and colour the content, colour the colour black, and then it hides that junk there. And that junk is actually the contents of the last byte in the current VIC bank. So it would be, looking at this, they've got the screen at 4.8, chart set at 5.8, so it would be 7 FFF. Whatever's in that location will get drawn here constantly. And so the advantage of this method is that you only have to draw one column at a time. So instead of shifting the whole screen over and drawing what is almost 1,000 bytes and the colour that goes with it, you only have to draw a single row characters. So which is what, 25, so it's like 40 times quicker than doing it the other way. I'm looking at the wrong screen. And the only thing you have to do is every 40 columns, you have to redraw the entire screen. So you still have to do one full refresh, but you only have to do it every 40 column updates. And because it's so quick, can you scroll both left? Yes, you can scroll both left and right. Depending on where you do it, the whole screen is shifted. So it doesn't shift it one at a time. It shifts it however many you've set. So if you were to turn the VSP off here, the screen would just reset back to normal. But by turning VSP on, you can shift it either 1 or 40 characters to the left. And so in games like Mayhem, what they do is they just if you go in one way, they reduce the value. If they go in the other way, they increase the value. I mean, the Mayhem in Monsterland scroller is essentially just an enhanced creature scroller. Why can't I fire? Oh, it helps if I press the fire button. You think you're bad at this, Hayes? You haven't seen me play this yet. You see, as I get to the edge of the screen, it reset, and I got a new screen that it started drawing, and it will do the same again. So it starts drawing it one screen at a time. Oh, I missed it again. But yeah, you can see it. So single column, yeah. So you'll see this is how far the screen has been shifted, and then as I move, an extra column gets drawn, an extra column gets drawn, and all the scroller is actually doing is using this trick once at the top of the screen just to shift everything. There's only one line that you have to do it on. It shifts the entire screen. And then drawing when I get to the edge of when the scroll value hits the edges, and then it adds an extra column in. And when I've drawn a full screen of columns, you'll see trying to get to a point where I'm right on the edge. That's quite close now. Yeah, so I've got 4, 3, 2, 1 column. So when I hit this column, the whole screen gets copied. You don't see it because the VSP has basically been reset, and then the screen copied over, and then the routine starts all again. And you can see it's starting to copy new rows. It's a very cool effect. The only downside to it is there is certain hardware. I'm not sure if it's particular boards or if it's just luck of the draw, but there's certain hardware that will crash if you do this. And the reason it crashes is because when you do this effect, it can cause some of the memory locations to become corrupt. And when they become corrupt, that means, as we've seen before, if they become corrupt and you try and jump to a location where there used to be code, but now there's corrupt data, it can cause a crash. And some C64s are prone to this, some aren't. Thankfully, the Reloaded and the Ultimate are not prone to this. Neither is the Turbo Chameleon either. So the modern FPGA implementations and the modern boards have a fix for this already, and there is a way, I'm not sure how, but there is a way to fix VSP sensitive original breadbin boards and short boards to avoid that as well. Yeah, and this is one game I would advise. If you buy a C64 or you want to buy a C64, ask for proof that it runs this game, because if it doesn't run this, then you're not going to be able to play this. You're not going to be able to play Creatures 2. You're not going to be able to play Mayhem in Monsterland and a few other games as well. There's a couple of new games that are using it. It's a very cheap way of doing a very colourful, very fast scroll. So it's used quite a lot to allow developers to put a lot more into the game. Yeah, this game is prone to crash for that very reason. If you've got a terrible C64, well, it's not even a terrible C64, it's just if you're unlucky enough to have one with the chip. No, Sam's Journey doesn't use it, because the other problem with this method, let me get somewhere I'll show you, is it's very, very time insensitive. You have to be cycle exact. You have to perform the operation at the exact point on the line for it to work. And if you don't, it won't work, or it'll scroll too far or too slow. And the problem with that is that if you have a sprite over a line, then your exact cycle timing becomes a problem. And so what you see in this game is when you jump at the top of the screen. So the top of the screen is where this VSP effect will be happening. For it to scroll everything across and not just a few lines, it has to start before the effect you want to happen. So it has to be starting around here somewhere. And that means you can't have any sprites that cross this line. Now I run out of time. God damn it. Please tell me I'll start there. Oh, okay. I just need to go over the water. Alright, fair enough. Okay, let me get over this water. So yeah, you can't have any sprites cross lines where you need cycle exact timing. Well, you can, but it takes a lot of fiddling around and some very complicated table data to be able to do it properly. And it's more trouble than it's worth, really. But what that means is when Clyde jumps, he bounces off the top of the screen. It's not, in fact, it's not even the very top of the screen. It's a couple of pixels below it. And the reason for that is if they allowed him to go outside of the screen above the border, then the effect would break and you'd see the screen flicker. So that's why he bounces off the top like that. Mario 64 actually got around that, and the way they did that was, it is how so what he did very smartly was when you go off the top of the screen on Mario, the sprite itself stays just like Clyde does. It's locked to the top, it can't go past the top. But in code, what he's doing is he's redrawing the sprite so it looks like he's going off the screen. He's basically sliding the contents of the sprite up. It's a very sneaky trick, very good, and I am going to steal it for Parasol Stars, so there you go. The other problem with VSP as well is it makes it difficult to make it work for NTSC and PAL as well, because you have to get the timing right on both. But you tend to have two different code paths for this. But VSP is a very cool technique. Maybe in one of the future dev streams we'll do some work on it. I don't think we're going to do anything in our current arcade game because it's single screen. There's no need for us to scroll. But maybe we'll do some kind of demo effects streams at some point where we implement some of these effects and you can see how they work. Because it is a really useful effect to know how it works. And once you know how it works and once you understand it, you'll see it everywhere. You'll be playing a game and you'll go, oh yeah, that's probably using VSP. And you can tell it because it will look like this in the debugger. So the other thing I want to point out on here is that you notice how on this screen we've got like a pink hue to the rocks and then a grey hue and then a pink hue again. Whereas on here it's all pink. And that's because they're setting splits up. So there's a split around about here. It changes from grey to pink. And there's one around about here that goes from pink to grey. And that allows it to look a lot more colourful here. Yes, I read that article, Dr. Miz. It's really interesting. He goes into a lot more detail about how the memory's corrupting. He was the one that figured out how it's corrupting and what was causing the crashes. And also he produced a VSP demo that was safe, that would work on any machine, even the ones that were prone to crashing. But it's really awkward because you've basically got to, every 8th byte in memory you've got to leave blank. You've got to not use it, and that makes it very awkward to do stuff. Very, very awkward. As you can imagine, leaving every 8th byte blank is not going to be easy. At least in the VIC bank. I think you can leave it in the other. So in 16K of memory you'd have to do that, and in the other 48 you can do what you want. But in the VIC bank itself you have to leave characters blank. I might be wrong, it might be the entire 64K, but it's definitely complicated. So yeah, there's a raster split going on here as well. So the rasters that are happening, there's one happening here to do the VSP. There's one happening here to do a colour split. There's another one happening in here to do another colour split. There's one happening around about here to draw the status bar. Made up of all 8 sprites by the looks of things. 2 of them are stretched. 3 of them are stretched actually. Yeah. You notice how it's showing oxygen here. So that's always in that sprite. They must just move it or something. Oh, they turn it off. Interesting. That sprite always says score on oxygen. And the score sprite always has the oxygen bar in it. That's quite interesting. And then there's some basic sprite multiplexing going on here. It looks like John used just a simple split in the middle rather than a full multiplexer. Because there's 3 sprites here that aren't being used, they're not doing anything. But as soon as you get to here, it starts redrawing another set of sprites. So I think it's just a standard multiplexer, it's like a standard zone multiplexer. We're going to go into multiplexing at some point. I don't think we'll end up using it in our game, but we may investigate it a little bit just to give you guys an idea how that works. Hey Dumper, welcome to the stream. Okay, so gone through. Oh, let's have a look at color cycling. So if we pause the game and let's just lock the thing there. You see this little guy here, this little walker guy. Every time I advance a frame, what you're going to see is he changes colour. Remember how to advance a frame. How do I advance a frame? Thought it was that. is it because I've got a raster line stuck there? Let's do it in this mode, maybe. It won't let me advance one frame. Oh, it's advancing code. Oh, I need to look up how to do this. Hang on. Let's bring up the manual. There is a button for advancing one frame. So, what the Rowland brothers did, or Steve Rowlands in particular, I'm sure John had an input on it as well, but what they did was they found a way. I mean, it had already been known anyway to mix colours. There's a really good article. I think I posted it in my Discord some time ago. I will dig it out and post it again at some point. That goes through how this effect works. Basically, every other frame you cycle between two colours. So every frame you switch from one colour to another. And if the brightnesses of the two colours are close enough, you won't notice on a proper monitor. You won't notice through the stream and through emulation. You do see a flicker, but through real hardware, through a monitor or a TV, you won't notice a flicker. You'll see a very solid, steady color. Well, let me see if I can find this advanced frame button. Blah blah. So they were able to take the 16 colours that we all know, and by cycling they created many more. I think one count I saw was that there was something like 50 colours or something that could be achieved using this method, and it's used a lot in creatures. As I was saying to Hayes while he was on his stream, pretty much every enemy has it. There's only a handful that don't. I mean, looking at this screen now, actually there's only one on this screen, that's typical, but throughout the game there's lots. But you can see at the top when I cycle, he's pink now he's blue. I can't find this advanced one frame, so what I can do instead, if I put a raster breakpoint on, so you've got breakpoints in here, but you can also do raster breakpoints. And the way you do that, turn it on in here. Then I think it's Control R or something. Find it in this breakpoints. Button break. Oh, you just click break. Okay, so I'm gonna put a breakpoint here. Click break. Now when I start, it will keep breaking at that point. Oh, and crashing apparently. Did I press something wrong? I think I pressed something. Ooh. Thank you for the bits, Jamie. Very much appreciated. Right, let's load this game up again. Let me restart. We'll do some hacking, I think, now. Yeah, let's hack around a little bit. So, yeah, the article was for Alien. Was it Alien Breed? No, Dragon Breed, I think. And they had like a big snaky kind of dragon in there, and they alternated very quickly between a cyan colour and a green colour, and it created this very unique green. I think it was one of the first games to do it. Why is this not resetting? Oh, because I've still got the breakpoint on, that's why. Yeah, that's the one. Thanks, Colt. Yeah, it wasn't Alien Breed. I think it was Dragon Breed. Yeah, this thing here. and you can see in the picture it's. Wait, is that that's not a C64 picture, is it? That's the C64 picture. You can see it alternated between these two colours, and it created a nice turquoise colour. And again, this won't show very well on stream, so you're better off checking this page out yourself. But the effect is kind of quite well done through the web, even if it is slightly flickery. You might be able to see a little bit of that colour through the stream, but I'm guessing it's not going to look that great. It's probably going to flicker a lot. And see, this is the problem we have when we try and stream these sort of things over Twitch, is that the refresh rates don't match, and so you get this kind of flickering effect. And for those watching the stream, watching Hayes stream before, you probably noticed that effect quite a lot, whereas Hayes wouldn't have noticed it because he was playing it on his monitor. So, whoa, what's going on there? No. And the other effect that is quite common to do is to alternate lines of a colour. And because of the way PAL TVs used to work back in the day, used to get a bleed between the lines, and so you could put two colours of similar brightness, again, same sort of colours that would work with the flashing effect, and alternate them. So one line of one colour, one line of another colour, and the way PAL monitors would work is those colours would bleed together, and you'd get a nice kind of mix of the two. The problem is when you play games that use that effect. So if you load up Mayhem in Monsterland on a modern machine like the Ultimate, without any kind of filtering on, and play it through a good TV, you will see those lines because there's no color bleed. Color interlace, yeah, that's still on, and yeah, it's used in quite a lot of games. And to be honest, it's the dithering effect is what it's doing basically. It's the same sort of thing. It's tricking your eyes into seeing one color, but with the lines, you never actually saw the lines because the PAL monitor would actually blend them together. But it's the same sort of effect as if an artist would try and dither things as well. Right, let's load this up, and then we're going to try and make a lives cheat. So I've got this little script, so let me bring up a terminal and go to my desktop. Okay, I'll make that a little bit bigger so you can see it. So I'll share this script. It's on Pastebin. I did post it in Hazy's chat, but I will post it again at some point. In Discord, and in fact let me post it now in there. But I haven't got the original link open actually. Let me quickly go and put it onto Pastebin so you guys can see it. It's pretty simple, there's nothing to it, it's just a very simple Node script. It took 5 minutes or so to write, 5 or 10 minutes to write. It's not complicated at all. So all you have to do is install. You have to have Node installed to be able to run this, and then you would run it like this. You just type Node, and then the name of it is called Cheat Find for me, and then it will ask some file names. You put some file names in, and then some values you want to look for. So what it started as, what it's changed to, and it will tell you the results. In this case, it can't find the files because I haven't created them. But let me put side 2. I got a bit sick of kind of trying to search for stuff in here because I use this mode a lot, but this monitor's not very good. So if I want to search for like the number 3, or is it 3 or 4 lives? I think it's 3, isn't it? look how many results it gives me, and I can't scroll up that list, so I can only see what it's decided to fit in this window, and it doesn't save any of these values, so I can't then do another search within these values for a different value, and that just makes it really, really hard. We can has JS. Yes, JS is perfectly fine. It can do everything. It can do front end, it can do back end, and it's fast as well. People think it's not fast, but it is fast. Okay, where's that? Oh, it is 4 lives. Okay, so let's take a memory snapshot now with 4 lives. So to do that, you press F9 and go into settings, I think, and memory, yeah, and dump C64 memory. So this is just taking, we'll just call it 1, I guess. This is just taking all the bytes in memory and sticking them in a file. So it's going to create a 64 kilobyte file. And I'm going to save it on the desktop as 1. And then we'll go back to the game. And we'll lose a life. Without this, what we would have had to do is what we did with Armalite. We'd have had to look at the sprite down here, see where it's been updated. And then trace it back, and it's just a really slow way of doing things. It's not the way people find cheats. So there we go. So we've now got 3 lives, so we're going to save it again. You save memory, lose a life, save. Yeah, exactly. And all the file does that I've written is compare these files. Hopefully it works. It should do. I did a quick test on some text files. So there we go. So the first file is 1, the second file is 2, and we initially started with 4, and now we're looking for 3. There we go, B7BF. That's so much easier. Yeah, how much quicker that was. Oh, no, I've got Charpado, let's close that. B7BF, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you should be able to see that, I think. So, let's go and have a look. B7BF. Let's jump to that location. There is a 3 in it, so let's change that to. Let's change it to 9. Don't think you can have double figures in this. Let's try it actually. Let's change that to 10. See if it'll do. If it's in BCD and it shows 10, or if it shows 16 if it's in hex. It's not updated. Oh, but that could be because it needs to be drawn to the sprite. So let's actually die so it updates the sprite. Let's see if this value goes down 1. It does. So that's definitely the live. It's more kilobyte than the game. I don't know. It probably is, isn't it? Nah, it can't be. It's only 50 lines. It's not that long. Let's have a look. (1,879 bytes), but it's saved on disk as 4 kilobytes because of the cluster size. Okay, so let's see how many lives do we get now. It says 3. Well, we haven't lost any, but it's not. It's probably. I think it can only show from 0 to 9. So I'm going to put 0A in. And then when I die, it should go down to 0.9. So let's try that. Oh yeah, if you include node, then it's way more. I mean, it's more than an entire Easy Flash library on a 1 meg cartridge. In fact, node is probably on its own. If you were to wrap that in like Electron and make a runnable desktop app, it would probably come to way more than every Commodore 64 game prior to the kind of the new cartridge kind of revolution that we're going through now. Right, let's see how many lives I've got now. 9 lives, there we go. So that's definitely the lives counter. That's amazing, love it. So what we can do now is figure out where that's being used. So if this is where we can search, because I know that this isn't going to throw up too many results. So we're looking for B7BF. Remember, it's little endian, so we have to do these in reverse order. And there we go, we've got 8 addresses that we can check for code. And we're looking for decrease or, well, looking for decrease instructions. So that's how many lives you start with. So let's change that. So we always start with 9 lives. Oh, and I've just changed a random piece of code there. I keep doing that. I've got to stop doing that. This game may crash in a minute. But I'm going to note down the value that we changed so we don't have to do it again if it crashes. E7. Oops. And let's change the number of lives we start with. So that's 18A2. Okay, and I mean, it's not going to matter now because it's going to take me forever to lose all my lives. And what I want to actually do is stop the lives going down, so it is going down, so let's see if we can find, but I'm going to change that now, so we'll keep that one. Let's have a look. Not there. So you notice when I jump to these addresses, I jump to 1 less than these, because this is always going to be an operand. So this is going to be the last 2 bytes of the instruction. The actual instruction is going to start 1 byte before these addresses. So I always going to subtract 1. Oh, well, there we go. That's it. That must be it. See how this decreases this value? So what I'm going to do instead is I'm gonna go to that location on CA0. That's a good point. I could do it. Yeah, let's have a go at that. And I think what will happen there is you'll be all right until you get to 128 lives, even though it'll only show 3 on here or whatever it showed. And then 128 lives. Looking at this, there's a branch of plus. So this is saying if the number is still positive, i.e. if it's 0 or above, then carry on. This must be the game over routine here. So what, I'm going to write that down actually. 1CBE looks like game over. Let's find out what the int command is. Let's do that. Why not? Let's do something a bit different. Let's bring up the opcode list. So we're currently using CE, which is this one, decreasing a memory address. What happened when you died from nothing on the 1v1 boss? I'm not sure. I would have to look back at that, but I would suspect it's something to do with those blobs that spawn out of the ground. Because if it spawned right underneath you, then it would die immediately as well. But I don't know. So yeah, I mean the choice of instructions here is quite varied. I mean we can do a few things, but I like the idea of making it increment just to kind of really screw around with it. The increment would mean that once we reached 128 lives, it would be game over. I tried typing the command into this window last time and I think it went all weird on me, so I'll try it again. Let me try it. It's not letting me. Was it in this mode I had to do it? No. I'm sure I did that last time. You're right. Definitely did something. Do I have to press enter? Oh, there we go. Cool, right, so now if I die I should go up to 9 lives. Yeah, so as Fred says, a common thing that you see in these pokes is that they just put knobs, so they put the value EA in all 3 locations. Have I broke or something? That's it, because I got a breakpoint there. There we go. And that just does nothing. NOP means no operation, so it just does nothing. It just wastes 2 cycles or 3 cycles. Can't never remember actually. I think it's 2. Check that quickly actually. I should know this because it's 2. It's used for some timing things. So hopefully now we should have 9 lives. Yeah, there we go. This is the kind of game I can get down with. Yeah, it is 2. So there is a trick that you will see for timing purposes where you will see this kind of thing in code. Let me get onto it. So you might see this in code a lot. And the reason is because this takes 3 cycles. But if you jump to this location instead, then it actually takes 2. So it's a way of doing 2, 3. So you can kind of you can work out, you can be more cycle exact like that. And the other trick is to use branch instructions as well. So branch instructions take 2 cycles to do, but if the branch is actually followed, it takes 3 cycles to do it. So that's another way that they use to stabilize rasters and things like that when it comes to cycle timing. Yes, yeah, as a cult says, stable rasters. Okay, so we've got infinite lives. Let's see if we can do infinite time now, I guess. So we've got 514. I'm gonna guess that that is stored as BCD somewhere, so let's have a look for that. Let's store out a memory snapshot. Double IQ uses bit. Yeah, I think they use it to get the exact number of cycles that you need, so that when the second IRQ fires, that it always fires when an instruction is just finished, so it's timed perfectly, so you get a very, very stable raster right at the beginning of the line. I'm going to overwrite the original values now. Whoops. And then restart. I didn't see what our time was when I did that, by the way. Let me hover over the time and do it again. Also, why is the time not going down? Have I done something weird to it? I think I've broken it. Seems to be going down in steps of 20. Interestingly. I've definitely broken it. Oops. Oops, oops. Oh, I just closed the debugger. Damn it. Right, let's start again. Not having a good day with shortcuts. This weather. Too hot. Way too hot. I'm managing to cope quite well without the aircon on though, so that's good. Maybe. I think we'll put the lives cheat back in, but we'll do it with we'll use a store accumulator just to actually, what would that do? We'll just load the accumulator. That should be fine. It wouldn't do anything with it then. It's not decreasing it, it's just checking if it's positive, which it always will be. Is there anything else in the game that you'd like me to take a look at, Hayes? Because I know you know this game quite well now, having played it a lot. I certainly played it a lot more than I played it. I mean, I have played it a lot, but I didn't know all the little things that you'd found. Like, those bugs were very interesting. Like the little bounce bug, that's very strange. Yeah, we know. Come on. Yeah, I don't like that mode. I prefer that one. The creatures logo, because that's the disc loader. I think you're probably thinking of the intro logo. There were two different logos for it. One was just on the disc, and one was on the tape as well. The main intro one is probably the one you've seen, which is the one that's the same on tape and disc, and it's coming up in a minute. As I say, the other disc loader one, I'm pretty sure that's the one they used for the logo on the Amiga. It's odd because it's not the one Commodore people remember really. This is the one you're probably familiar with. Oh, is this the Cytronic release? Ah, okay. It's a clean version anyway, so it's not got any cracks on it or anything. Okay, let's go and put this. Although I got it from CSDB, so it would be unusual for a full release like that to be on CSDB. They usually try and keep them off there. Hi Sinlow, welcome to the stream. Okay, let me... Ooh, what's that doing now? Not what I wanted that. Right, okay, let's get these cheats back in. So we had... I didn't actually write down where that cheat was. I think it was around about 1C, so I'm just going to go and have a look. That was around here, wasn't it? But actually help if I looked at the code rather than trying to read hex. No, I've lost it. I'm going to have to hunt for it again. Oh, thanks for the follow, by the way, Shrapnel and Dulia. I missed that. Thank you. Hope you're enjoying the stream. 1CA0. I was close. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. So what we'll do instead is we'll just do load accumulator B7BF, and now it should do the same. I shouldn't lose any lives. It won't go up, but it won't go down either. Double check that. Write that down so I remember it for next time. Yeah, there we go. So that's the simple single value poke, changing this from CE to AD. So it's poke this value, comma 173, and we get infinite lives. So the time is ticking down now properly. So I'm going to stop when it gets to a number. 57. Oh damn it! I didn't see that. 5, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. Right, 570. And I'm going to save that memory out now. I'm going to overwrite the original file. And we're going to start it again. Interestingly, I'm going to do that again because that time had gone down a lot. So I'm actually going to pause it before I do it. So now I'm going to do it, because I don't think it had done it properly then. Right, okay, let's try that. Restart. I don't know, 538. Doing 540. 538. Just need to save that out. Cool, right. So this could be stored in a number of ways. It could be stored as a 16-bit number, in which case it's going to be 2 bytes. It could be stored as BCD, binary coded decimal, in which case it could also be 2 bytes, but it could be 3 bytes as well. They may just use a single byte for each number. Let's check all 3 of those ways first. So let's start by checking. Let's check BCD first because it's the easiest one. So let's run that script again. 1 bin, 2 bin. I should probably just make this a standard, and they'll always save them as 1 bin, 2 bin. So this could be stored in a number of ways. So let's start by checking it like this. It didn't find anything. Okay. I'm hoping that's because it didn't find anything and not because there's a bug in my program. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'm going to, first of all, just to make sure there's not a bug, I'm going to check for that memory address. Yeah, okay, so it can find those memory addresses. Okay, so it's not a bug. Cool. So we'll check. Oh my god, why does it keep scrolling up to the top? So we checked for 0540. Make the script convert to each different way in search mode. Yeah, that would be good as well. I'm going to check the numbers in reverse this time, just in case they're stored that way. Still not found. Okay. I should really get rid of this 1.bin, 2.bin thing. Just make it use them automatically. Let's search for it as a 16-bit number. So as a 16-bit number, 540 is 0802. 538 is 0602. Didn't find that. Let's try it the other way around. See, this would have taken forever to do this in the debugger. This is why we had problems with thrust, because we were trying to do things in the most ridiculous way. Okay, so it's not stored as a 16-bit number, so now let's just try individual digits. Check the LSB, even if it's the lonely one, to change. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I'm checking both. That would I could have accomplished the last 2 searches with just 1 search for these, this 8 and the 6, but never mind. Andy has a point there. So this time I'm going to check for 050400, 050308. Hey, there we go. So B71A. Oh, I like that script. That's really good. I'm gonna see if I can find a way to make that work inside this debugger, because that's really handy. So let's go to B71. No. Oh, thank God for that. Oh god, I keep doing that. I keep typing in the wrong places. I don't know what I'm doing to this code, but so 538. There you go. 538, and if I start the game again, sure enough it's going down. Yeah, it would be good if you could just run node scripts in the top. It would be much better. So this value here, B71A, is the last value in this timer. So let's see if we can find where that's been decreased. So the actual time starts at B718. So let's search for B71A and see if it's there. It should be something that's decreasing it. Little endian, so little bit first, least significant byte first. And we've got a couple of places that are messing around with it, so let's go and have a look. There should be a way to lock the code so you don't accidentally overwrite it with your stupid misplaced typings that I keep doing. So that doesn't seem to be doing anything. It's got the address in it, but it's got a NOP instruction, so that's not what we're looking for. That looks like it. Yes, so you can see here, this is definitely it. So this decreases the time value, this decreases the third digit, and then as long as that digit is still positive, i.e. 0 or above, then it jumps to the end down here somewhere. If it's not, then it puts a 9 in it. So if it ticks down from 0, it puts a 9 in that value and decreases the next one, and so on. So all we need to do is stop it doing this. We can do that in exactly the same way if we just do B71A. So we just do LDA B71A. There we go. And now the timer will stop. That's B728. Cool. So we've got infinite time, we've got infinite lives. Be nice if we were invulnerable as well. I could just run to the end then. I'm going to take a quick 5 minutes just to buy a break and a quick cigarette, and then we'll continue on and we'll have a look at some more stuff on here. So be right back, guys. I'm back. Nice quick cigarette. Since I've turned the aircon on here, the temperature has gone to 31 degrees, which is actually warmer than it is outside, so it's nice when I go outside now. Still enough space for specky bang. Catch up. Yeah, Haze has got a lot of emotes. Got a lot. I've got one. Though I think they're from all sorts of streams, but Haze has got a lot anyway, so it's 21 degrees outside and nearly 1 AM. Wow. That's insane. I'm glad it's going to be a bit cooler tomorrow, so good. What can we do now? Let's have a look. Any ideas? What do people want to do? Oh, look, let's have a look at getting this score to stop flashing and this around here. So we're going to the Vic mode. We can see what everything is, and we find the score sprite, and you can see it's flickering the score color here. So that value is, so the sprite colors start at D027, so D027, 28, 29, 2A, 2B. So let's have a search for that. D02B. Apparently there's only one location that changes that. I can bet that that's going to be the culprit. Stop typing in there. Yep. D0. Yeah, there we go. So it's using self-modifying code. So you see this load accumulator instruction. This value is changing on the fly. So we've got to be careful what we do here. We need to figure out where that is being changed. So that is 25CF, so let's search for that instead. Unless we can see it around here. I don't see it around here anywhere. No, okay. CF25. There we go, 1DAD. I go to 1DAC. And we have got what looks like a color table, so it's grabbing a value from this table and it's storing it in this address here. So let's go and have a look at the table at 1DEF. And yes, we've got some colors in here. And you can see them being red actually, so you can see these blue streaks. Let's start here and go to here. So I'm going to change all these to 1. There we go. We've stopped that from flashing. Yeah, so self-modifying code just changes these bytes here. So what they've done with this routine is they're changing the value of a load instruction further on in the code, and that instruction is what's writing to this sprite color here. I think if we change these ones here, we should see the same happen to the score as well. Now let's try that. Cool. So we've created static white color. I mean, we can go crazy with it as well if we really want to annoy Acmefin. We could, you know, create some crazy red and blue epilepsy-inducing color cycles. Yeah, he must love that. Oh yeah, we can, if we do, I mean, it will look alright here. And do it on here as well. It will make it flash. But when we move over background, you'll see the black instead. 0 1 0 1 0 0. Yeah, and if I move to where there is some background there, because the whole point with this being sprites is that when you get to an area where there is ground down there, it will be viewed over that. So likewise, the magic potion creatures, they're flashing as well, and it looks like they flash white at some point. So we'll see if we can prevent them from flashing white. It's interesting that they use self-modifying code for that bit. I mean, I wouldn't have done it like that, but that's me. There's probably a reason why they did. I don't know what it is, but there will be a reason, I'm sure. Ah, there you go. So you can see now, you can see the black. You see, that to me looks more more distracting than if it was flashing multicolours. But you see how it's not as readable. This is why they did it, I think, because it's not that readable. If we get the color fade docker, actually, if we go search for cold fade, it's almost definitely going to be in my history, which it is. So these are the color chains that you can use to do various fades. We can mess around with one of these. So if we did, how many bytes do we get? 8. So we get 8 bytes to mess around. So if we find a chain that's about 4 long, like this one here, I don't like that one. Let's do this one. So 589B0, and then change these values. So we go 5 08, 09, 0B, 00, and then we go back through them as again 09, 08. It's still not very readable. They've definitely thought about the colours they've picked, because now flashing between this green and blue, it's kind of make the blue sky black, or is that too tricky? No, we can do that. This is, I'm guessing, well, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the Vic. And have a look at what it is. Actually, let's go into find the right mode. Oh, I can never find the right mode. There we go. So this looks to be possibly this character here. I mean, it's a solid colour. However, you'll notice that this kind of ground hovers over it a little bit. This could be a background colour. In fact, it is. There you go, D021. Okay, so let's find that in memory. Okay, there's a few places where that's happening, so let's look for a store accumulator with that to narrow it down a bit. So let's go and find the opcode for store accumulator, which is around here somewhere. Store accumulator absolute. It's this one we want, which is 8D. And we'll search for the same thing again, but with 8D. Okay, it's not store accumulator. Let's try store X. So store Y is 8C and store X is 8E. Ah, interesting. It could be that they're using some indexed addressing. So when you set registers, you might want to set the background color, the border color, and also the multicolor values, so these values here as well. So it could be in the raster split code. So let's go back to this list and let's just have a quick scan through these addresses, see if we can find it. Whoops. So let's jump to 1116. So this is setting the background and border to black. I don't think it's that, although we do have some black down here. But this could just be, this could be where the solid characters are, because I wasn't seeing black drawn unless, although look here, we do have a line that it could split. So it could be that it's blue up here and black down here, which we can check if we come on here. So it's blue. So we're watching this value here, D021, and hoping it stays the same. So it is the same all the way down. So they're not using a raster split for the black. This is what the solid character is doing. It's drawing black in that location. It is probably a table, yeah. So yeah, let's have a look for store accumulator, X. That's a good idea, because they are probably storing D021, 22, and 23 as well. Yeah, let's do that. So we've got a nice list of characters here, so we can just check against this list. If we search for, so we want store accumulator indexed with X, which is, where is it? This one here. That's 90. Let's try with 20. Let's try 00. No. Try indexed with Y, which will be this one here, 99. No. Alright, it's fine. I'm just going to go and look through these. How come the search didn't find the STA? Because we were looking specifically for store accumulator at D021, and that doesn't exist in the code. So I just need to double check that I'm not falling foul of the the debugger again, which I am, because there you go. See, I did 8D, 2 on D0, and it worked this time. So the thing with this debugger is, even though I'm searching for 3 bytes and I'm searching up to FD, and 3 bytes at the end would be D, E, F, it doesn't allow me to search that. So yes, it does exist. There is a yeah, you're right. The debugger is a pain. So whenever you do the end value of the search here, knock a couple of bytes off, because even with 3 bytes free at the end, it didn't find it. 4 bytes free it did, so yeah, user error. Okay, so looking at this list and comparing it to this one, they look about the same. So these are all store accumulators. It's fine, we can go through these, it won't take that long to do. It'll be really obvious when we find it. This looks interesting. Takes a value. If it's minus, it doesn't do anything, otherwise it stores it here. So let's have a look at 12C9. 12C9, there we go. This is the background color. Pretty sure that's it. So if I change that to 00, ta-da, there we go. We've got a black background. So 12C9 background color. It's amazing how different it looks as well. Like the fences at the background really kind of look completely different now. They don't work as well in the black. Wonder what crazy colours we can put in there. So like, ooh, let's go through them all. Oh, I like that. That's nice. Yeah, I do like that actually. That's really good. Reminds me of Turrican 2. The sky in Turrican 2 was a purple colour, green. Whoa. He looks very happy when you do that. His smile sticks right out. New levels. We should make a press fire to win button, shouldn't we? That's what we should do next. Another end game. I think black backgrounds are too easy. I think it's very easy to make black work with everything. So if you make a background black, it immediately gives you a background that works with every sprite, but it also means it saves you a colour in your multicolor palette as well, because you can just use black for the dark shading very easily. So it kind of almost cheating a little bit. So I like to try and use different colours if I can. That's why in Doc 2 I've got the parallax in the background. So even though the background is black, I've got a little parallax character going over it, so it adds a bit of extra colour to it. But there are some black levels in this, aren't there? So okay, cool. Let's see if we can find the color tables for these guys. Let's see if we can figure out where these colors are being stored. I mean, there's a lot of, yeah, none of these are actual colors though. This looks like it could be background colors. If I change that to yes, so these are the background colors. So you see the top section? I can change the color of the top half of the screen. And I'm guessing this is the next section. what we could even do here, and this will drive Ackmithim mad. So I'm gonna remember this value now. 12C5, and then I'm gonna go and find our color thing again, which was, if I remember rightly, D02B. So and then we're going to go to that location, to 5D1. And instead of storing it there, I'm going to store it here. So store accumulator 2C5. Now we've got psychedelic background. And that's now using those values that we had before. So if I go and search for that, where was it? 25CF. So on DAD. Oh no, that's. Or did I just type that? I just typed that in the middle of nowhere. Don't know what that did. And that was getting it from 1DEF, that's right. So these are our values again. I can't remember which one it's using there now. It must be using this bottom one because it's flashing like crazy. So if we wanted to do our own color mix here, so we pick two colors. We go back to that that article, which I bet I haven't got open anymore. Let's jump back. Here we go. So I'm going to pick some colours from in here. So I'm going to make a weird, let's go for this strange colour here. So this is the one that they used in the alien breed thing. So that is 5 and E. And I'm going to change that to 05, to E, 05. To E, 05, to E. They've got it on half frame, so it's only happening half the time. But so it's not happening quick enough for us to mix the colours. They're probably doing a trick where they only update it every other frame. It does has the effect of slowing it down a little bit as well, so the color ramps don't have to be quite as long. Produce a nice effect. But yeah, you can see we've really messed around with it now. It's look very odd indeed. Okay, I wanted to check to see if they are using sprite collision, standard sprite collision, as an entry point for the collision routine. So let's have a look for collision. I can never remember which address it is. It's like sprite background, sprite collision has occurred. So they're interrupts for sprite collision. Helps if I actually spell collision correctly. There should be another value somewhere. Let's see, D01. D019, D01A, but I don't think it's going to be that one. I think this one, D01E. So let's have a look. No, it's not being used. So D019 is being used. D01A is being used. It's being used twice around this location. So let's go and have a look at that. Okay, so these stores here are stored into this interrupt control register, which I don't think is actually, yeah, it's just for the raster interrupts. So it's not doing anything with the sprite to sprite collisions. So they're not using sprite to sprite collision that's built into the VIC. They're using their own routine to do this. which won't be easy to find because it could be done in many different ways. Let's have a look. Is there another location where they might be doing it? 1911 maybe. The chances are that this block of code is what's setting up these raster splits. But I'm not gonna play around too much with that. They've got an F9 here, so that's saying set a raster split on that line. I'm sure if I change that to something at F9, it's going to be round about here. So if we look at what goes on down here, at that point, I don't see what's happening. It looks like it could just be sprite redraws. No, because the sprites are staying the same. Okay. I don't know what that is. Let's change the value. Let's see what happens. Let's move it to like a few rows up. So I'll do it E9 instead. Oops. E9. Oh my god, how do I get the hash? There we go. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have done anything. If anybody's got any requests for what they'd like me to mess around with next, because we're really messing around with this one. I just get quite a few things in. I'd like to maybe get some invulnerability in, that would be kind of cool. Or at least a level skip. Well, we know where the game over is, so let's see if we can just force a game over. Oh, you can stand there. I didn't know you could stand there. Can we see how they do the rest? So the raster interrupts is this bit here. I don't know what they're calling here. We can have a look at what they're jumping to. So this here is the address that they're jumping to, these two values. So they're jumping to 10F8. So let's go and have a look what they're doing in this interrupt. Clear the decimal flag, load accumulator with D019, which... Oh, so that's just acknowledging the interrupt. It looks like they're handing it with 1, branching if equal. 1. They're skipping something here. This could be a stabilization routine, maybe. Interestingly, they're not. This routine jumps in at 10F8, and that's here. But you can see they're storing values on the stack there, so they've obviously realized that it doesn't matter if they destroy these values at this point, but that's unusual. Vulnerability for monsters. Jump height, that's an interesting one. Yeah, we could see if we could find the jump table. Yeah, I like that one. Let's have a look at that. So let's work out what sprite our guy is. So he's sprite 0. Most of the time, if there is a multiplexer, it doesn't include the main character sprite, because you want the main character sprite to stay. I mean, the multiplexer is happening here, but for the main part of the screen, from the moment the screen starts drawing after the, once we get down here, once we start at the top of the screen here, you see he's the same sprite all the way down. That's because you don't want him to flicker. If there is a multiplexer clash anyway, you don't want it to flicker. So for that reason, I think we might be safe just looking directly for those values. So the jump will be jump table. Yes, that's a nice advanced topic that we will use. We're going to use jump tables. I've already thought about this, so we're going to introduce jump tables when we do enemy behaviors for our game. And the reason for that is we can create a jump table that loads in as part of the data, and then you jump to the behaviors through the jump tables. I don't see it used all that often, but I like to use it for things like that. I actually use it for my scrollers as well. So depending on which direction you're scrolling, it will jump to a different section of the code. And rather than have a big long list of branch statements and comparisons, I just use a jump table based on the current scroll direction, the value of the scroll. Hey Sean, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Okay, let's have a look, see if we can find out where this guy is doing his jump. And see if we can change his... I'm guessing there is going to be a table for his jump, because his jump is quite smooth. Let me get out here, and it doesn't look like that is a kind of... It's definitely some kind of sinus table that's been used for that jump. Okay, so let's go and have a look through the code. So we're going to look for the Y value of that sprite. So we're looking for 01D0. So it's used in a couple of places. Let's search for store. Narrow it down a bit. Okay, that's narrowed it down quite a lot. So let's go and have a look at those values. 29BD, we've got to stop pressing that. Okay, so this is taking some values and storing them in D00 and D01. So let's have a look what those values are. I think this is just going to be the player position, but we can use that to figure out what's updating it. So that's D01281, so it's these two values here. So I'm guessing this is the X value, this is the Y value. So if I move, if I jump, yeah, so there are player X and Y. So I can teleport across the screen if I do what would that be? Is it using half values? I don't think it is, because this would be 1/8. The width of a sprite would be another 1/8. This is using full values, so I can only really get this up to FF until I work out. There we go. We've got a little teleport. So just to fill you in, Sean, this is one of the best games on the Commodore, but what we've done is we've turned it into a horrific mess of color cycling. So you see that platform in the middle that's flashing, it having an epileptic fit. That's not how the game normally looks, and also the background isn't black; it's a nice sky blue. Yeah, I would say Acmafin, definitely check this game out for real on real hardware, because it is very, very different experience to what you see on the stream. A lot of this platform will still look a mess if you did this, because this is not cycling fast enough, but the monsters, like this guy up here who keeps kind of flickering between like pink and green and some kind of beige color, he would just be a solid beige color on real hardware. Okay, so this is... Let's find out where the MSB is. So, as I said in the game stream, when you go past 255 on the screen, it wraps back around to 0 again. So you see this value, FE... Oh! Whoa, teleporting went horrifically wrong there. Oh, see, I've done something and broke the colour. I've made it high res, the stream at the bottom. That looks really weird. At least the score is not colour cycling. No, but we've got like the worst things going on now. Like we've ruined this down here. I don't know why that looks like that, but it looks horrific. This is just awful, this thing in the middle. And the red, they definitely picked the right colours. You probably do know this, Sean. You will have seen me playing this, definitely. This is a brilliant game, but you will have seen it in proper colour. Yeah, it's so when you get to 255, it goes back to 0 again. See, you're learning. Good. Is that what you meant when you said I know this? Not that you know the game. Okay, so this is our Y value, so we're going to see what's affecting this value. So 1282. Okay, a few values there, so let's do the store accumulator again. That narrows it down. Then we're going to jump to some of these addresses and see if we can find something that's... Okay, this seems to be storing a spawn location. So this 265D looks like a spawn location. Let's try changing those and see what happens. So this is our X, so let's load FF. It's a European style keyboard input, so... And now if I die, let's see where it puts me. Well, that's interesting. It didn't put me anywhere, it just ended. Yeah, it's flashing directly in my eyes, Dr. Miz. It was horrific. It's becoming a real problem for me. Good job I'm not epileptic. So, oh, see how it's reset it to 2.6 again. So again, this is self-modifying code because these values got overwritten. And I think what it's doing is it's overriding it with the spawn point. But you see how this is what the game should look like, Sean. Oh, well, actually not quite because we've still got the crazy flashing. Okay. Anyway, we know where we're looking for this now. So 1282 is not that one, so let's go and have a look at the other one. 2DB3. Okay, there's a table here that's loading something else. 1284. So this is our Y position. 1284 is this. This could be the top of the screen, maybe. It says if it's equal. Let's have a look at 2E5E. I'm not seeing anything add to it though. This is what we're looking for, is something that's adding to these values. I'm going to write that one down and come back to that. So there's a table of some sort at 2E5E. And we'll have a look at the next one, 2E11. So there's this one as well. So this is actually subtracting 2AF6. And then so this is definitely going to be our upwards motion. So let's go and have a look for 2AF6. Interesting. So 10 10 10 2 2 2 3 3 3 4 4. So it must be going backwards through these. So if I jump, what we should see, I think, is a blue kind of shift through these very quickly. So yes, and then back forwards again. So if we change these values a little bit, we can change the jump. So where does it start? It seems to start at the 5, not the 6. Or is that 6 being used? Well, let's change these a bit. So we've got 3. Let's go. Whoops. 07 07 06. Whoops. 06 06 06 05 05. I mean, this is going to be all over the show, but I'm just trying to create something of a bit of a higher jump, so I think that's higher. Next. That I got a blue. What do you mean a blue? Oh, the microphone, yeah. Yeah, they were on offer at Amazon, so let's make it crazy. Let's go as high as we can. There we go. Makes these jumps way easier. So that jump table is around about 2 AFB. I'm going to make notes of all of these. I think what I need to do next is find a way for next stream is find a way to save these out as PRGs, and then I can kind of save them out at the end, upload them somewhere for you guys to have a play around with a list of all these addresses that we've changed, because there must be a way to do it. Yeah, Sean was into PCs before he got a console. He had was it a laptop? I can't remember. I can't remember if you had a laptop or a desktop, but we definitely gave you a little computer, and you used to play Warcraft 2, I think, and yeah, Just Jack Rabbit and things like that. Oh, so I've caused a problem there now because I've got a high jump on. It's jumping more than it should, so it's getting kind of stuck at the top of the screen. It's causing an infinite loop, and that's this bit here. Compare with 32. Branch code clear 2E15. So it's trying to perform this over and over again, and not coming back down properly. So if I just change this value in here, we might get a fix. So because we're jumping a bit higher, we need to account for that by putting our comparison a bit differently. So oh, you see what I was saying about the VSP? When you cross that border at the top, it breaks. That's what's happening there. That's why you bounce off the top. But what's happening there is my sprite is going into that kind of danger zone where it affects the cycles. Yeah, it is what he calls me. I don't feel like I can jump high enough though. Yeah, I feel like I should. Oh, there you go. That's kind of nice. Yeah. That's what you should host, Sean. You should host some retro stuff. People like their retro stuff. I'd watch a retro N64 stream if you did that. And I'm sure a lot of people here would watch that sort of thing. Oh man, this is funny with this. The problem is this is going to be hard to do now because I'm jumping too high. Oh well. So yeah, it's kind of cool that we did that because you can see now how it breaks the VSP. So if I go into the Vic mode down here, you'll see. Actually, where's the split? Oh, you see, there's the split on this side. Let's just move that. You see where this break is now. As I hit the top of the screen, actually, you're not going to see it because internally the Vic RAM is perfect, but is exactly what we want. These columns have been drawn exactly as they need to. To speedrunning. Speedrunning what? Mario 64. Yeah, he tried. It wasn't pretty. The record speedrun for this game is 15 minutes, and Hayes had barely got off level 1 by that. So if you look on Discord, there is an asset share channel. Just drop them into asset share, and then we can kind of all look at it there, because it's not just about the stuff that we're doing. If the sprites, if we can use the sprites in the game and they're suitable for the game, brilliant. If they're not, then at least they're there for other people to use. I don't want to kind of keep all the sprites for the game. If there's more stuff we can share with other people, then that's better, I think. I noticed my Infinite Lives cheat has stopped working. I think I've caused something that's causing me to immediately die. The first time I die, I'm out of the game. So let's have a look. So I've got 4 lives. I've blocked at the top of the screen again. Oh, that jump table's not good, is it? That jump table really is not good. Where is that flickering around? So it's kind of jumping around here. Where were we looking before? Oh, look at this. This looks like the... don't know what that is. Looks like keyboard code or something. Hardcore mode, only 1 life. I saw somebody had speedrun, what was it? Super Mario World on the SNES with a blindfold on. I thought that was absolutely amazing. If you've not seen that, I'd recommend you go and watch that. After the stream, of course. You've got to stick around for the stream. Let's go back to that location. I kind of need to tone this jump down a little bit. It's getting a bit out of hand. Yeah, see, it's getting stuck here. This value is not... I need to make this even lower, and the problem is as soon as I make this lower, it's going to glitch even more. So if I do... So there, I mean, it's fine now. But you see, look how glitchy that is. It's awful. But who cares, right? I can jump really high. What else were we going to look at? Yeah, just to go back to what Furrow was saying, so we're progressing quite well with our game on the Saturday stream now. We're at the point where we've got a map displaying. We're going to change the background sprites for the map. Sorry, we're going to change the background tiles for the map. We're going to do something different because they're just some high-res tiles. There's not a lot of variation in there at the moment. We want something colourful, like creatures, like mayhem, that sort of thing, like bubble. Good night, Sinlao. Sleep well. Yeah, so what we're kind of looking for is map tiles. So if you're a good kind of character artist, background artist for the C64, and you've got some existing tiles you want to share, or if you feel like making something you want to share, just drop it into the asset share on Discord, and we'll try and include it in the game. And if we don't get to include it in the game, you've given back to the community. There's plenty of people who can use these things who don't have the skills to do the drawing. We're going to have a need for enemy monsters soon, and we're probably going to have to draw some fancy animations, because as far as I can remember, I think the absorb method of killing is ahead, and people keep coming up with even better ideas for the absorb. So I really want to do that, but it does mean we're going to have to do some quite funky sprite work to make it work. But it's totally going to be the best version that we could make. Okay, what's people suggesting? Probably missed the next Saturday stream though because of SIGGRAPH. Oh, sorry to hear that, Fro. Well, it will be on VOD afterwards, and I'll put it on YouTube. I did consider actually Akmafin whether it should be 2-player or not. I think once we get the game working with 1 player, if we decide it could be 2-player, that would be really interesting. if we've got time and space to do it, then yeah, why not? I think single screen arcade games work best when they're 2-player. In fact, Bubble Bobble, you can only complete properly with 2 players. I don't know about Parasol Stars. I've not actually completed it yet. I'm still struggling through it, but John says if he was going to stream N64 games, it would easily be Star Fox, Mario, and Conker's Bad Fur Day. I think Mario, you would probably get a lot of people watching, but you'd have to be speedrunning it. There's no other way. Is it 200 levels? I thought it was 100 levels. I know that you can't, if you get to the end with a single player, you'll get a thing that tells you need to do it again with a friend. Okay, I did write down the game over, although I don't seem to need it because I just seem to, once I hit something and die. Yeah, we've created a hardcore mode, I think. So now this is in hardcore mode. 1 life. Yeah. It's really harsh actually, because can you imagine being a little kid in your bedroom back in like 1987 or whatever it is, and you are a little bit of a loner, but you really enjoy your Commodore, so you're really buzzing with Bubble Bobble, and you spend 2 months perfecting it, you get all the way to the end, you're really pleased, you finally get to the end, and then you beat it, and it tells you that you need a friend to actually beat it. That's just it must have been heartbreaking for some children. Yeah, 21 up 21 has got a point there actually. If you look for YouTube videos of speedrunners, the top videos for speedrunners are those that cheat. It's like it's videos dissecting speedrunners, and showing like where the videos have been spliced together and things like that. So yeah, the best way to get a lot of attention is to either cheat or to be very, very good at it. And the problem with games like Mario 64 and Super Mario World and things like that is people are insanely good at it. So trying to beat those people it's going to be difficult. Especially trying to learn your mum to play Bubble Bobble to do it again. Yeah. Yeah, my mother would never have played games. She wasn't into them at all. Alright, let's have a look around where this game over code is and see if we can find a level skip piece of code. So I wrote down game over was at 1 CBE. I don't know what I've done to make it hard mode, but I've done something. So interestingly, game over sets the interrupt flag, so I would expect the level skip to do something similar as well. So setting the interrupt flag turns off all the interrupts, and it's usually a precursor to doing some loading or setting the screen up in a different way. So I'm going to look for the problem is it's only one value. It's probably going to be everywhere, but let's give it a try anyway. Yeah, it's in a lot of places. Interestingly, it's here as well, but this is where the lives are decreasing. We've already looked, actually, that's where the lives are decreasing. Why are they still decreasing? Change that. I should encourage him, and I think he should stream more. He should stream more retro stuff. I honestly think you should stream retro stuff, Sean, because the competition for other streams is massive, and retro is awesome, and it's a community full of awesome people, and the games are just better. So just do it. Get yourself an N64. Start streaming. Start streaming that. Could even do didn't I reload it when it crashed? Oh yeah, maybe I did. Doesn't explain why I'm still dying every time though. After 1 life. Okay, right, let's have a look forward through the code. So I'm just looking at some of these addresses to see if I can see any obvious kind of level skip areas. 1EF, so that's not 1F23. That's not. This is going to take forever, isn't it? 1F28, 1F9B. Let's just check to see if this is game over. I just want to make sure. So 1CBE, CPU jam. This is why we end up reloading. I should probably pause before I do that. Okay. So not to worry. I'm going to load this up, and while it's loading, I'm going to go and have a quick cigarette. So let's take 5 minutes, and we'll do another 45 minutes or so. So I've got work tomorrow morning, so be right back, guys. And I'm back. Yeah, I'm gonna convince Sean to start streaming some retro. I think he needs to do it, and then we can raid him. So I got the game loaded up again. I really want to find a kind of level complete. I don't really want to have to walk to the end of the level though, so I'm going to see if I can find a way to warp. So we had our player location, which, did I write that down? Don't see that written down. God damn it. Oh, it's easy enough to find again. So what we're going to do is we're going to look to see when the player moves left and right. Oh wow, there's lots of code here. Could be any of these. Let's try and narrow it down a bit. There we go. We're going to see if we can find out where the actual map position is, and see if we can jump the map position ahead so we can go much further along, like instant warp to the end of the level, and then we'll try and figure out what's going on when we hit that monster at the end, if I can successfully do it. I saw Hayes having some trouble getting to it, including his phantom death. So 1281, so let's go and have a look there, see if there's something that looks like it could be the map location. So we're going to keep an eye on this area here as the map scrolls, just to see. So we know this is our... actually, look at these values here. So 1283, 1284. When I jump up and down, that goes up and down, and when I go left and right, this goes up and down. This could be our map position, so I'm just going to try randomly setting that to FF. That didn't do anything. Okay, let's find out where that's being stored. Something is overwriting that. UB81. 2B81, sorry. I'm not falling for that again. Andy got me with that, and I'm quite disappointed in myself for that. Yes, this is... I'm not sure what that's doing. It's taking a value 1281, so it's taking our position. Ah, this is a collision lookup. These are our collision lookup vectors. So I'm guessing if we were to change Yeah, it makes sense because this is dividing by 8. So if you watch my last stream, we took the position of the character and we divided it by 8, its sprite position, after subtracting the border value off. So it's this bit here. Then we divided by 8, and then that gave us a position on the screen. So these values that we're looking at here are our actual position in characters on the screen. So if I was to mess with these, what I would end up doing is you mean joystick inputs to reach the end of the level? Yes. Yeah. I can get to the end of this level. I can get to about halfway through the second world before I run out of lives. I'm not that good at it, but I'm not going to attempt to do that right now. Not on keys and in the debugger, it's not going to work. So that's our collision area, so that's no good to us. So I want to see if there's any other values around here that change as we move the screen. I'm not seeing anything that's going up. Check the 0 page, because the 0 page is usually a good place to see if there's anything that's been used a lot, like map positions. So there's this value here, which looks like it could be that went up as I moved. It's definitely going up as I scroll the screen. So let me try putting FF in there. Now I'm not sure what that's done, but it's definitely moved something. So this could be the VSP scroll. So I think if I put that back, that's going to be fine. And I think if I change that up, I'm going to... Yeah, so this is what's controlling the VSP scroll. So you can see as I increase this value, screen scrolls. So that's going to go up to 2.8 and then it's going to reset again. Good night, Andy. Good to see you again. I'm not going to do much longer myself, probably another half an hour or so. I do think it's a very hard game, Hayes. I never completed it without cheats. I have completed it with cheats on, but I've never completed it without cheats. Maybe I should do it sometime. I'm just not. I'm not an amazing game player, and there's a little bit too much precision kind of jumping and stuff in this for me. You know, you see there, I've really screwed up because now the VSP is thinking I'm in one place. On my values telling it I'm in somewhere else, so I need to move that back down. If I move that to... That's probably going to be alright once I scroll a bit. No, I've really messed it up now. Okay, so it's definitely not that value, because now it thinks there's floor here when there's not. I'm not sure what it thinks is here. I'm guessing... I can't even jump up that, so I'm not sure what it's done there. Yeah, it is very unused, isn't it? Look at all those zeros. That's quite unusual, actually. I would have expected this to be way more used than it is. I mean, when you look at my games, the 0 page is pretty much jam-packed. There's not a lot of stuff going on. That isn't using the Vic page. Oh yeah, look at that. I've done some really funky stuff. So where is this section here? Looks like it's incorrect, but where's it getting that from? Like it's taken like a weird section. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm going to pause it and I'm going to try and force the program counter to go to the game over routine. C, B, E, and it's not letting me for some reason. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think because I scrolled a little bit and then changed that value and then scrolled a bit more, I think I completely ruined the offset value. So Oh, you see that actually when you can see the VSP effect being used to scroll the map in as well. Let me put that value in again so I know I can get to start. So when I start the game, watch this fix screen at the bottom. You'll see the columns being drawn, and as the columns are being drawn, the screen is scrolling in. If you watch down here, you'll see the VSP effect as the screen kind of fills up. It's not being used there, that's just a normal scroll. And you see the columns were drawn along, and as it was drawing along it was scrolling the screen into the left. VSP trick is brilliant. It's one of the best things people discovered. The other one is FLD, which is they use it on the high score screen on this, but you can combine the two to do full screen scrolling. You're invincible after your first hit and when you spawn. That's a good point. So there must be a flag that does that. Nice thinking, Hayes. I'm going to try that. So, what I'm going to do, when we're invincible, we flash. So if we look at our sprite here, I'm going to die, and watch our sprite in the Vic register. When he starts, he should be flashing colours. So this colour here will probably... Ooh, what have I done? I got a breakpoint somewhere. I'm gonna have to restart again. I'm getting good at this. Oh, that's a new one. Oh, that's a cool emote. Oh, it takes some confidence to make one emote and then think you're gonna get another emote. I guess you can. Do you unlock multiples sometimes, or is it just one at a time? Flashing invincibility on enemies. We should give Hayes a special speedrun version with the high jump, crazy flashing background, but then just randomly make some of the enemies completely invincible. He'd love that. Yeah, so the point Hayes was making was you are invincible for a bit. So if we can make him permanently invincible, I mean, we'll flash, but we can always turn the flashing off. Did that start? Oh, I need to turn joystick on again. No, joystick is off. Why is that not starting side B? Still got a breakpoint on? No. Oh, don't make me restart again, seriously. It's starting to get very hot in here again. Temperature are we on? Hang on. It says 30, but it feels like 50, so... okay, let's try putting that side in again. Turn that breakpoint off. It doesn't seem to be using sprite-to-sprite collision, so we had a look for that in the code, and it looks like it's using its own routines, so it's not going to work for us in this case, unfortunately. Okay, I'm going to restart the debugger because it's bugging out on me. It is going to be nice actually. Once I stop the stream, I can turn my aircon on again. I would turn it on during the stream, but it's so noisy you wouldn't hear anything but that. I have to like double the volume on my TV when I've got that on. But the fact I've sat here now for almost 3 hours with it off means that when I turn it on, it's going to feel delightful. It's going to be awesome. And weirdly, loud noises is one thing that doesn't stop me from sleeping, even though I do suffer from kind of insomnia a little bit. It's everything else. My brain tends to go into overdrive before I sleep, and then I start thinking about things. I think about code quite a lot before I go to sleep, which is probably not a good idea. Probably because I code before I go to sleep. I'm going to be thinking about creatures. Okay, let's do it through the menus this time. There we go. Yeah, so Hazy's idea is to kind of extend the vulnerability period. Yeah, it is. It's definitely why. But you know, I'm not going to stop coding, so it's fine. It's probably also why I like to drink when I code, because it helps me sleep afterwards. It's damn warm in here. Blah blah blah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so. We're going to extend that state. So first of all, we need to find out how that state, where is the flag for that state. So we're going to start by looking at our main character. You see there, he flashes colours. So you can see this colour here changing. That colour is D01, D027. So we're going to look for that value and see where that's being flashed. So it's in a couple of places, so we'll check for store again, so 8D, and we get these addresses. So let's go to 29C. Load accumulator 128A. So let's have a look at, oops, 128A, and that's pink. So this is the colour of Clyde's arms. So if we change that. Ah, interesting. If I try and change it, it changes back, so that's being set constantly. So we need to find where this value is being set. Okay, so we've got a couple of places. Let's again do 8D. Narrows it down a bit. Let's start with the first one. That was wrong. On AA6. So this seems to be setting our colour of Clyde. If I change that to 02, so that doesn't change it instantly, so this must be some kind of global setup for him, so I'll leave that there so when he goes red we'll know what that was being used for. Oops. Jump to the next one. 2663. Interesting. So this again. So this is loading FA. I don't know what the F means here. This could be. It could be if it finds. So this could be right. If I open up Sublime so I can show you. So if we've got this value FA like that, and we store that in any color register. So this is the color of Sprite 1. I reckon what's going on is this: when he's invincible, this value is going to flick between FA and AF. And that's why it's stored as FA. So I'm going to keep my eye on that value, and then I'm going to die and see what happens. Okay, it's not changing there, and it's going from... Did anyone see what that was changing to down here? What is the counter at 1298? Counts from 100 to 0. Oh yeah. I have no idea. I wonder what that is. There's another one here as well, which seems to be counting from 40 down. Interesting. Our sponsor of .cosmos, fueled by Vino Blanco. Yes, indeed. I'm going to have a look at this address. One of these addresses is going to be changing that value. We've got another FA here as well. I'm going to change that FA and see what happens. I'm going to make it F2. And that's not done anything either. So let's make it F3. So if he goes cyan, we know. Whoa! I did not want to do that. So you can type in commands, just not hex. Yeah, I think you've got to be really careful as well, because I think if I type while the code is running, I think the best way is to pause it in most cases. If you're doing a command that isn't a direct byte for byte replacement. So say I wanted to change this to a 0-page store, I think I'd have to pause it so that I could do a 0-page store and then a NOP after it, so it didn't break. Let's go to 32F7. Ugh. Aha, interesting. So here it's looking at a lookup table, and this here loads accumulated 1219. If the value in 1219 is 0, then it jumps to here. Okay, let's have a look what's in that table. I mean, it's this table here, isn't it? 02, 08, 0A. I think that might be it, you know. So red, kind of brown, pink, grey, red, brown, pink. Ugh. What's the maximum value of that Y? So Y starts at 8 and decreases. One, 2, 1, 9. I feel like this might be a counter of some kind, like an invulnerability counter. So let's go and have a look at that. So that's this value here, which is going from 0 to 1 at the moment. So let's see what happens if I die. No, it's not that. There's going to be some kind of counter that counts down. So it's not this bit here. But I feel like we're kind of close. That seems like the most likely place it is. So let's just go and check this other one first. And this again is just the pink bit. So if I change that, let's try changing it to green. Oh, there we go. He's gone green. Okay, so let's keep an eye on this value. This 05 and see if this flickers. Oh god, he looks Hulk mode. But you see he's flickering between green and this other colour as well. So that code isn't being self-modified. This is just the color that he is. Yeah, so he's constantly gonna. So this is always setting it back to green, and I think this code here at 32F7 is the one that's doing the flickering. So I'm gonna leave it green, and let's have a look here. So okay, so we have a couple of branches here, so it could be some of these that are checking for invulnerability. There is this, which is increasing when it gets to 24. Wait, it increases. If it's less than 24, it jumps to here. But we're interested in this store here, so let's have a look what 1236 is. So that's this value here. No, not seeing anything. I feel like there's going to be a value around here that is some kind of counter. I'm loving this green Clyde, by the way. Right, I'm going to watch around these values. So we're looking for something in this kind of area that counts up or counts down. No, it didn't look to be like anything. Okay, so it's probably not that. 129F is this one here. So let's check that. Ah, there we go. 129F. So you see that when we're flashing, that value is higher than 0. So if I'm probably is this my last life? No, I got one more life left. But watch this 129F here. When I start, it will be higher than 0. And I'll start flashing. So it starts at 7F. And when it hits 0, I stop flashing. So we just need to stop that value from getting to 0. So we're going to find where that value is decreased. 2 dB. Okay, that's this location, so I'm going to write that down. 129F vulnerability timer. I'm not going to change him, I'm going to keep him as green. I like that. And because Acmefin likes the colour cycles, we're not going to turn the colour cycling off when it's invulnerable. We're just going to leave it flashing between green and whatever colour. So let's go and have a look at these. 3CE7. So this is again, it's just checking the invulnerability counter. So this is probably just doing some collision check. So this could be collision code because this is checking the invulnerability counter. If it's not 0, then we basically skip all of this code. So this code down here is probably to do with collision. I mean, I'm not gonna go into detail in it, but it'd be interesting just to have a quick scan through it. Yeah, so that it's, if you're invulnerable, it just jumps straight to this RTS, which will exit the function. 3D59, that looks interesting. I'm going to write that down and I'm going to jump to that address. So you see this jump address here. It's doing some kind of check and jumping to this value and setting X to that value first. So I'm going to write that down as an interesting address. 3D59 with X equal to 3A. Actually, X equal to the value in memory address 3A. Okay, that could be a level skip. but I want invulnerability first, so let's check the next one. AD57, and we're doing something different. If we're, again, this is some kind of, I don't know what this is. This could be more collision, this could be background collision. I'm not sure, but there's no decrease on this value, which is what we're looking for. This is what's resetting our invulnerability timer. So when we start, so if we wanted to be invulnerable for longer, we can change this value. So if I change that to, although they could be using a negative check, branch it minus somewhere, which could break this. It hasn't though. Let's see, we're invulnerable for a bit longer then. But again, it's not that, so let's check the next one, CF01. Again, this is, here we go. Load X with this value. If it's equal to 0, don't do anything, otherwise decrease it. So we're just going to change this to not. And now, invulnerability will last. Yeah, he's gonna, when we start the game now, we're gonna be invulnerable, but it's gonna keep the invulnerability flashing. So hopefully now we shouldn't. Oh, brilliant. Can I still kill things? I can, can't I? And can you die in water if you're invulnerable? You still can, can't you? So there's still a way to die. But now I can get all the way to the end. They're not invulnerable, it's just you don't kill them by hitting them. So the cheat that, well, not the cheat, but the kind of glitch that was being used to complete the level really quickly at the end, on the end boss, won't work. Because you need to actually be vulnerable in order to hit that boss and cause him to die. So what I'm interested in is when I collide, when that boss dies, what triggers the level end? Where does it happen? Now we need to think about how we're going to find that. Because it's definitely related to that enemy dying, because the moment that enemy dies, that's it. It's not when you walk off the edge of the level. It is literally when it dies. And I mean, they could have fixed that bug quite easily by making it invulnerable to you suiciding on it. Which is kind of an odd mechanic if you think about it. It's not a mechanic you see in many games. Usually if you suicide on an enemy, they don't die. So here's our dude. So we need to figure out, if that dies, what is going to trigger the level. You can do save state, so let's do that. Let's save a snapshot. Quick store snapshot. Shift Control and 1, and then Control and 1 to restore. So okay, and then okay, so I can keep going back here. But if you suicide on any enemy, they die, right? And so the bug here is the fact that they've tied the level end to the death of this creature here. This is technically the end of level boss. Okay. Oh no, really? But it's literally just that enemy. You can't suicide on enemies. Interesting. Just that enemy. Okay, that's really weird. So what happens if I try and walk off the edge? Nothing. Okay, so how can we do this? Any ideas, guys? I'm gonna fill my orange up. No one's got any bright ideas how we could do this? That'd be good. Before they update the lives, they check the level end. That's the bug. Ah, okay. Oh yeah, so you can suicide on enemies, but they're doing the level end before the actual death. Yeah, okay. So let's think. We could work our way backwards from the lives cheat, from where it decreases the lives. Or we could kill him really quickly and then pause and skip through the code. Let's have a look at this sprite pointer. So does this creature exist anywhere else in this level? Is there another one of these? Because if not, it could be the sprite pointers. And is that creature always there? No. Okay, so it's not a set sprite. I think it's reused. I've definitely seen the wiggly tail. I don't remember the other bit. Okay, I'm gonna kill him, and then I'm gonna very quickly pause the game and see if we can get to step through that code. Oh, interesting! I can't do the flame now. Yeah, it's not letting me do it. Come on, die. Okay, right, we paused. So let's bring up no, let's do it in that mode. Actually, I do prefer that mode. Let's turn follow on. Oops. X with F. X is currently B. So this is some kind of loop. Let's step through. This is interesting. This looks like something to do with rasters. Means it's using zero page to store accumulator X and Y. When we do raster interrupts, I'll show you why you need to store the accumulator, the X register and the Y register. That's probably being loaded again, yeah, down here, and then return from interrupt. So this is an interrupt routine at the moment, so I'm not too fussed about that. We'll just skip through that. Let's see, where has that gone? Okay, U2D7. I think it's going to be a jump command. Ah, that's skipping over, isn't it? That's stepping over these functions. That's fine. I think we're looking for a jump command anyway. 22E1 maybe? No, 22E1 looks like the end of the... Okay, that's just a raster routine. I don't know what this is doing. Where is the screen RAM at the moment? Screen RAM is at 4400, so it's nothing to do with the screen, that. X is... okay. Somewhere in here we're going to reach a jump, and at that point I think we're going to see problem is 6510 does this. It might be a slow processor, but it does it a hell of a lot quicker than I can do it. So this is sound routine, so storing at these values. So this is, it looks like it's probably just the music routine. Still not done anything. I'm not even sure where the raster is on the screen. Let's put the raster on. The raster's there. I'm going to skip through a little bit. It's going to take forever otherwise. I'm not seeing anything that would indicate we've... Because it immediately goes black, doesn't it? So we immediately kind of fade to black and the level loads, so... Oh god, this could be anywhere, you know. I don't think this was the right way to do this. I'm gonna just accelerate through. And is the screen turning black at this point? No, so the screen is still showing the level. I'm gonna turn it on and turn it off very quickly. Okay. Where is our raster? It's way off screen there. Yeah, these are just sprite values. It's doing something with the sprites here. Or what that is. Kind of want to catch. Oh, what's that at the bottom? See, oh, that's the magic potion creature. Damn, there we go. So let's scroll up through this. Could it be that 332B? See if we can find that. The problem is it's going to go through the code so quickly. The chances of me catching it exactly on the location. What's jump? Is it? I can never remember what the jump command is now. Force C. Nah, it's not that. So what about jump to subroutine? Would your node script work for this? Not unless we know how the values are stored. There's going to be some kind of flag somewhere that says level complete. We could try... Yeah, let's try something. So let's load the snapshot back up again, start the game. And let's take a memory dump of this. And we'll call it 1 again. And then we'll take a memory snapshot when we've completed it, and we'll check for things like 0 and 1 to see if there's a flag that just says 0, the level isn't complete, 1, it is complete. That's not a bad idea, actually. Okay, so I need to bloody kill this thing again. And this time we're going to pause the game just as the screen goes black, I guess. Now we'll take a screenshot, a memory snapshot again. Call it 2. Yes, right, okay. And now if we check 1.bin against 2.bin, thing is, there's going to be loads of places where, yeah, that's what I thought. Damn it. Okay, so these are some areas where we were looking at. Let's kind of go through some of them. So there was 1219, but that's changing all the time, so it's not that. 121B is that one, and that's changing all the time, so it's none of those two. It's quite a lot to go through here. So we're looking at one of these that's 0 now. 12-hour stream confirmed. Yeah, I am going to stop very shortly. I would like to find this before I go though, so let's skip through a little bit. 0B, oops. B. So this is 0 here, and apparently this turns to 1, but it looks like this is character data. You see here, and this is actually in the Vic bank. So I wouldn't expect any of this to be in the Vic bank. So I wouldn't expect it to be between 4,000 and 8,000. So we can skip everything up to here. I'm going to start looking from this position. So let's move down to 9A09. This is a bit more interesting. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. So let's just try setting it to 1. See what happens. Nothing is the answer, so set it back to 0 just in case we're breaking something. And have a look at 9AD2. Is this one? This seems to be cycling through. There seems to be some kind of pattern going through, so I don't think it's that. I would expect it to be a value that's read often, because you need to check it every frame, which is what seems to be happening. It seems to be checking to see if that if you've hit that flag, and it's doing it before the lives, which is as the bug, as Hayes says. So it could be one of these values, but I would expect it to be flashing blue constantly, but not in a loop like this. This is obviously going through some kind of table. So we're looking for a value that's flashing blue. 0 currently. B8C is that one. It's not that. B0F looks like another table. No, it's, well, it is a table of some kind. I don't know what that is, but it's definitely a table. You can tell the tables because of these kind of progressive numbers here. 0F 9030. Yeah, I don't think it's that. 9D77. Actually, we were looking around this area before at code, so I'm going to go and have a look at E3. Oops, 3 F. So this is just lots of zeros and ones. Don't think it's that. There's some kind of cycling going on here, but notice how these are going blue continuously, so I'm going to try changing some of these just in case. This is looking like a kind of a dead end, to be honest, but E3D1. See, these values are flickering constantly, so it's not those. Which is that one as well. 419. I mean, it could be that it's not 0, 0 and 0, 1. It could be something completely different. So this could be a complete dead end that we're looking at now. These values, I'm not sure what that's going to dump actually. That probably is going to dump RAM, but I wouldn't expect it to be using these because these are in the Vic area. Oh, thank you for the follow, Antiware. Welcome to the stream if you've just joined. This is right towards the end of the stream though. We're going to end fairly soon. I would like to find this level skip if I can, but I'm not holding my breath right now. E084. Again, these are, yeah, they're just blank values. They don't seem to be anything important. Same with there, all the way up to 9D. 9D is that one. Could be that one, I guess. There. E14C. 4B or 4C. Yeah, I think I'm clutching at straws here, to be honest. Don't think any of these are going to be what we're looking for. E1, B3, that one. C7, C8, no. E4, DC. This one kind of sits on its own. But again, I don't think it's that either. No. Okay, so I don't think it's storing it as 0 and 1. Oh, C50, did we look there? Oh, no, we didn't. That's not that though, anyway. Okay, I kind of think it's going to be in this area somewhere. But I have no idea what to even look at, because we've got lots of kind of important stats about the player here. But I couldn't tell you if any of these are going to be it or not. They're just slowing down there since 2012. Hey, it's speeding up our memory searches. That infinite lives cheat took no time. If we'd have done that the old way, but we were doing it on the last 2 streams, that would have taken forever. I think there's just a check happening in the code for this. This enemy's got some special flag on it in its data somewhere, and when it dies, it looks that up and jumps somewhere. I think I'm going to call it there, guys. We couldn't quite get a level skip cheating. I don't know what happened there. Maybe I ran out of time. In fact, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to have a quick look just to see if we were on the right track before I go, because I feel I don't want to be defeated. Creatures, pokes, C64. There's got to be a level skip in here somewhere. Limited lives, unlimited shields. So we've already worked out most of that anyway. Nothing for level skip. I'm sure with a bit more time we could figure it out, but for now we'll leave it there. I've got to get some sleep and get up for work in the morning. So I'll be back again on Saturday where we'll be doing collision stuff. So we've got a little character in the game. We'll be adding some collision to make him be able to stand on things, adding a bit of gravity. You can join in on the stream. That page had the free Fuzzy Wuzzy toys, so I need that link. Okay, hang on. What? Can't still get that, surely. This page? Oh, I can link that. That's just the C64 wiki. Yeah, I never got that because I bought the budget version. I had it on a copy off a friend for a while, but it was an action replay copy, so I could only ever do the first level. And so I played that for a bit, and then when I got annoyed, I went out and bought it, and I got it on the budget version. I think it was Kix who did the budget version. And so I never got one. My friend had one and I didn't. I was quite jealous. Yeah, so that's it, guys. We'll do a stream on Saturday. We'll stick the collision in the game. We should actually have something that begins to resemble begins to resemble an arcade game. It will actually be playable. I mean, you can use a joystick on it now, but you can't really do anything. You can just move around. But this weekend we should have some collision. So if anybody has got any map tiles they want to donate to the stream, we're looking for 2x2 tiles in the kind of vein of Bubble Bobble, Solomon's Key, that sort of thing. If not, it doesn't matter. We can still continue without them for now. If I have to, I'll find some time to draw some tiles for the game. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Let's find someone to raid. Let's see if there's anybody up at this time. Let's have a look. Americans should be up at this time. I wonder if Zork is streaming. He is. Cool. Right, now I've got to mute it here, then I've got to copy his name, and then I've got to quickly unmute it because I keep missing his welcome. Did I get that right? Zorchen Himmer. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Cool. Thanks for joining again, guys. We'll do this again next week. If you want to vote for next week's game, just join my Patreon, or if you're a sub on my stream here, you can drop me a note in chat in Discord, and we'll see what we're going to do next week. Maybe not a Thalamus game next time, although this one's been very productive. We've done a lot on this one. It's been good. So cool. Let's start the raid. I'm learning all those pro streamer strats. Yeah, I'm really enjoying streaming. It's good. Right, thanks guys. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time. Bye.